Hi, Tripp. This is J.C. Mitchell.
All right, Tripp.
Hi, Tripp. My name is Cheryl Thomas.
My name is Jack Stewart.
Hey, this is my video response to Tripp regarding his message about donut holes and Rob Bell.
Tripp Hudgins in his last video asked for a response to this question about where people see God in their lives.
First of all, I love the video and I'm not just pandering. I really thought the question was intriguing and the way you positioned it was as well. And you have a much better video voice than I do. But I digress.
First of all, I used to be a baker myself, and the donut is something I just have a great memory of. And I do think there's something about the whole defining it.
I am discovering that I try to be very intentional about finding the brokenness, the emptiness in the world. And I'm discovering that reason is so that I don't have to deal with the emptiness inside of myself. Did you want this to be a therapy session?
I have been disabled for the past 2 years. Limited my life. It has changed what I'm able to do for ministry.
For me, what represents the whole of the donut is something that used to be at the core. And the core of my being, what's now missing, is the self-loathing, the I'm not good enough, the I'm defined by my addictions.
I have a 4-year-old son. He is a child with autism, and he does not really communicate. And I think he's wonderful and perfect the way he is. But what is missing in my life, though, is having that relationship that would be communicative and starting jokes and things of that nature.
This last year, my wife and I lost both of our dogs. Losing them has left a big hole.
We live in a culture that doesn't want to admit our emptiness, our vulnerability. We don't want to admit that we have scars. When Jesus showed the scars on his hands to his disciples, he's basically saying, I dare you to show your scars to each other. But it's a hard dare to take up.
That self-loathing and that pain came from a place of abuse and codependency that started when I was 9 years old. And frankly, the church tradition I grew up in didn't help. And somehow I had this opinion that even God hated me. He hated me so much that he had to kill his kids so that I could get into heaven.
But I found his first written word, which was months and months ago, and it was the word moon. In some ways, I mourn not being able to have just a conversation about the moon and about what it means to play. And I am thankful that he doesn't ask for Transformers things, but then mourn that I don't either.
Dogs, I think, bring out the best qualities in humans sometimes. A friend of mine told me a story this week about her dog going outside and seeing some of the leaves falling for the first time this fall, and the excitement that the dog felt at seeing this multicolored leaf coming down, and how much joy that brought her.
I have a hard time receiving a free gift. I suppose it's because we live in a culture of exchange, and if I help someone, then I feel good about myself. But if someone helps me, I feel indebted to that person.
Thanks to making some radical changes in my life, no longer having to do good to compensate for all the bad. And when you remove that core, all that's left is the beauty of our community, the beauty of the love I have in my life, the beauty of the father I am.
I think there's a connection between the way that I relate to the people, the creatures, the animals I love, the people I love, the ones I love, and the God I love. We're getting a new puppy in a week. What I'm really excited about is the relationship that I'm about to form with this new companion, with this new friend. You can't just go up to a random dog and have it be your best friend. You have to form a relationship with that dog.
So what is missing is what used to define me. And now that those things are gone, what defines me now is the beauty that surrounded it all this time.
So in that missing, it defines me as an advocate, someone who understands that the church and everywhere needs to be much more inclusive.
I think it's virtually impossible to just have an instant bond with God. You have to develop a relationship.
God is grace, which means it's unmerited. It's not about what we do to earn it. It's about what God freely provides.
What's missing are the things that almost destroyed me, that told me I was damaged. I know this is personal, but that personal thing has affected the entire way I pastor, parent, and love. Wow, that was more honest than I intended it to be.
And I think it is great to uphold these donut holes and realize that it doesn't make it sad. It doesn't make it wrong. It does in some ways define who we are.
As my world has narrowed, I have been forced to look at things that I wouldn't have looked at before. I've seen nothing but shrinking of the progressive church. And now I am seeing something remarkable. The living body of Christ that is freed up, where we are truly all equal.
I learned so much through his autism about knowing the Christ and inclusion of everyone.
And I think that God is filling up the empty places in our world by inviting us to participate in that grace, that unmerited grace of love, and extend that, share that with the world.